Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest episode on Follow the Brand TV. We have a special treat for the entire audience tonight. This is going to be great. I can't wait. We are going to dedicate this particular show, just like we did about a show, I think it was 2 weeks ago. We're still in that National Breast Cancer Foundation Week. We want to continue to support the foundation, and we support the foundation through their program called Fab Over 40. And we are dedicating this show to the number one contestant who won her round last week. So she's moving on. So we want to celebrate Miss Yurli Dixon. We want you to donate. Please vote for her, whether it's $1, whatever you can do. We want to continue to support her. So we're going to have it rolling across the banner. And if you want to take a pen, paper right now, just go to www.votefab40.com/2022/Cyralene. That's CYRALENE-Dixon, DIXON. She'll pop right up, and you can go ahead and see all the wonderful things that she's doing. So with that said, we are going to go into that superhero world. We've got a real life superhero on the Follow the Brand TV. This is going to be wonderful. She's coming to us all the way from Chicago. She was a former DEA, or I wouldn't say DEA. She was the Cook County Special Investigations undercover agent in her 20s, which she served. And then she ended up into a lawsuit with the county over racism, discrimination, and she fought for 11 years until she finally won that particular case. A wonderful, wonderful story. Even better, she then turned herself into a superhero cartoon character, which she developed. So we're going to talk about that story from beginning to end to get a better understanding who she is, what she does, and why her genius is common. So with that said, let's roll a clip. Let's get a little bit better understanding who she is, and then we'll get her introduced. Thank you very much. How is that for a superhero entry? So we want to welcome her to the show. She's going to tell this wonderful, wonderful story. You see, scrolling below, you have the banner. So go ahead and write that down or click on that particular link, and we can go ahead and support the foundation. So as we wait for her to join the show, oh, here she is. There she is. There she is. How you doing, Yurli?
I'm amazing. How are you, Grant?
You are truly, truly amazing. That clip kind of captured a little bit of your spirit, a little bit of what makes you special. So I want to go ahead, allow you to introduce yourself to the audience, and we're going to go ahead and tell that story that's so important.
Well, hello all. Thanks for having me, Grant. I am Yurli Huff, your real live superhero. I am the CEO and founder of Engendering Strength Inc., which is a corporation that I created to house all of my comic book and cartoon enterprises.
I think she froze up for a moment. I think she'll be back in just a second. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, good, good, good. All right. So now you framed a little bit of that. I want you to take us back, a little back in time. You're in your 20s, and you're now applying to be a officer in the Cook County Sheriff Department that led you to be an undercover agent. Take me through first what you were thinking and how did you get into that role?
Well, I was a secretary at the time, and the Cook County Sheriff's Department was hiring for jail guards, and CPD was hiring for police officers. So um, it wasn't working out for me as a secretary, as my boss was dyslexic and it was very problematic. So I was like, well, maybe you should try and apply and see what happens. So I ended up applying to both, and I went through the entire process for the sheriff at jail guard for the sheriff, and through the process, which was physical agility, a number of written tests. The last part of it was an interview with the director of Department of Personnel. So in my interview with him, I explained to him that this was just a door opener for me, and that my plan was to be a federal agent. So to go into being a jail guard, doing whatever was required there, and then going on to the sheriff's police, and then going on to be a federal agent. This was also the time that Clinton was in office, and he declared the war on drugs. So this interview was on a Friday. That next day, the director of personnel called me at home and said that the sheriff of Cook County, which was Sheriff Sheehan at the time, had just gotten federal funds from Clinton via the war on drugs to start a special tactical unit. So he was saying, do you want to be the police, don't you? And I said, yeah. He said, well, don't worry about your job at the jail. I'll hold your job at the jail. I want you to go on into this group of testing, and there be a number of other things. And he said, don't worry, I'll call you and let you know where to go and where to meet, and I'll be there. And that was it. Now, as far as the CPD, I took the test for them and got well qualified, but I was also a part of a group of well qualified Black applicants that got disqualified for the psychological. So there was a lawsuit about that as well. But I
Mm-hmm.
was really glad that I did not go with CPD. They are seems like they were hiring a bunch of vigilantes and people who like to indulge in illegal things.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good choice for me to go with the sheriff's department at the time.
So they handpicked you.
Yeah.
You went in there. you're doing the jail thing for just very short time. And they say, hey, we've got something for you. Did you know there was undercover work at that time?
No, I knew that they had undercovers going into the jail. They have investigators. It's different levels in the sheriff's department. So with the jail, they have the jail, the courts, and the sheriff's police. So in the jail, those are the jail guards that take care of the secure and take care of the inmates and run the jail. And they had investigators, undercovers that would go into the jail to make sure that the jail guards were on the up and up and they weren't doing illegal things, and if they were, to eliminate that because they were dealing with the prisoner population. So I never went to the jail. I
Uh-huh.
went straight off the street and went straight undercover because, as I told you, I went right into another series of tests
Yeah.
and interviews to qualify to go into the police academy. So I went straight off the street and went straight undercover, and that's never been done before.
I mean, that to me, now as I think about undercover work, I think that sounds extremely dangerous, extremely risky. And to take you were doing secretarial work, and then all of a sudden they say, you'd be a great undercover. We see superhero tendencies here, and we're going to go ahead and put you in this situation. How did you feel about that?
Well, I grew up in K Town on the west side of Chicago. So it was what I was surrounded by every day of my life. So it's like, you going to pay me to do this? Okay, I got it. No problem.
Okay, okay, so you felt comfortable.
Yeah.
All right, and how long did you do that type of work?
5 years.
That's a long time. That's
Yeah.
a long time. So you were undercover agent for 5 years. Did you make any? Well, I guess you couldn't make the actual arrest because that would blow your cover. But
Well, some arrests I did affect, and some a lot that I didn't. So we were in the South suburban towns, which has high level of corruption all the way up to the mayor's office, and so those South suburban towns, smaller towns, had been applying for grants, but they were misappropriating the funds. So that's why the sheriff ended up with the grant in the first place.
mm, mm. This seems like a scene out of The Departed. Remember that movie, The Departed, right? And I'm seeing you. No one knows you're undercover. You're in
Exactly.
this situation because you haven't been on the street. You haven't wore a badge. No one knows you, right?
No.
But this is what you do. I mean, walk us through one of the scenarios that you had to get out of that you thought was just you didn't think you were going to make it.
Um, let's just say growing up on the west side of Chicago, you get enough street smarts to make sure that things go your way. Um, I was on a team of all white males, and I was the only agent that could get into places because the towns were all black.
Mhm.
And so some of the, drug dealers, they wouldn't deal with anyone unless they were black. So going into a number of situations where my partners had to be a significant distance away in order for me to affect the deal, and going into places by myself and making sure that, because gunfights take seconds,
Mhm.
that it's seconds. So by the time, if anything would have went down, they got to me, it probably would have been too late. So every situation was a highly volatile situation because I wasn't able to be covered as the if we were working in other areas of the state.
I can totally see that. You were on your own. You
Yes.
and even if another law enforcement officers saw you, they don't know you're undercover, so they're thinking you're part of the criminal society.
Exactly.
Wow. So now this is interesting. So now talk about, you've been doing this 5 years. You're there. Then this ends up in a lawsuit because you were experiencing racism and discrimination. Tell us what was happening.
Well, what I quickly realized being in what they called a country club was that a number of the officers that were there, in fact, all of the officers that were there had some type of clout or sponsorship to get there. You just did, it was unheard of for me to be coming off the street and go straight undercover. That had never happened before.
Mm.
And then for me to be a Black female from the west side of Chicago, there was stigmatism, and it was a good old boys club,
Yeah.
and going into that situation, I was just there to do a job in my mind, but quickly realized that that wasn't the intent of my superiors or some of my teammates. So certain things began to happen, like I would get we all got new cars, but my partners, my male white partners, they got cars with electric windows and the nice Mustangs and drop tops and this and that, and I got a little car where I had to roll up the windows.
Mm.
Well, you would say, well, why would you be so picky and trivial? That's petty. Well, it's very important when you roll in from a drug deal, you might have to meet somebody real quick and you roll down your window. If you got electric windows, the window comes down much faster. Then you have to roll down the window. Then you got to roll the window back up.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that makes a big difference when you're doing
It's
the kind of
cold.
work
It's cold in
that we
Chicago.
do.
You want that window up as quickly as you can get it, right? So
Exactly. So then we can take off and get out of the area or get where we're going. You might have to, it might be something going down that the quickest thing you can do is roll up on somebody, roll down your window and be like, look, back there, take care of that. And roll the window up. But I'm having to manually roll down the window.
yeah.
And it's like, what the hell is going on? So that was one of the training. I quickly found out that my white partners, they were being offered specialized training and I wasn't. They were given overtime and I wasn't.
Mm. Mm. Okay, and this was a continuous thing. Now,
Yeah, it began as little, no one ever explained to me like it's racism in the world and when you experience these type of things. So it was really kind of seeing what was going on and what was happening and mostly listening, because the next day they would come in and we all sat in our certain area by teams. So it's like they're processing evidence and drugs from last night. Well, what do you mean last night? Nobody called me.
mm, mm,
Oh, well, you get to go on this other opportunity because you got the training, or here are your certificates for this training. Well, what training? What do you mean? What training? You coming in the next morning and they're filling out overtime cards. What the hell? What overtime? I need a card too.
yeah,
I, oh no, well you see we didn't want to bother you, and and so it like after the first time it happens, then I'm like, okay, all right. See, being from the west side, you really know what it is,
you're right. You start to your spidey sense went up.
exactly. So then it's like, oh, okay, okay. And then it progressed into racial statements. And my supervisor, someone had brought their police dog to our undercover office. And I'm not afraid of dog. I go to pet the dog, and my supervisor's like, be careful, the dog doesn't like Black people.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And then it progresses into, more black men should beat their black women to keep them in their place.
So all these microaggressions, they got
Right.
like bigger and more exploitive and more direct and more intentional over
Yes.
time. Now you fought this. You actually filed a lawsuit. Then there was some pushback on that, and then you did this for 11 years. You fought this lawsuit. Then you finally won. Talk about that. What was happening with that?
So what initiated it was that we were a specialized undercover unit of a division of the sheriff's police, but we weren't union. So there was two parts to our unit. There were overt and covert.
Mhm.
I was in the covert part. So my male white partners began to request transfers to go to the overt part. And then from the overt part, they were given the opportunity to become a part of the sheriff's police and become unionized. So that was the flow and the filter and the door of opportunity that was created for the white boys.
Mhm.
So once I peeped that, I applied for a transfer, and the chief at the time approved my transfer.
Mm.
But my initial supervisor, he had moved on to a gang tactical unit. He wasn't even in our undercover office anymore for some time. He blocked my transfer that was signed by the chief, and the chief is the head of the police department.
Wow. Yeah.
So then that came back to the Meg office. That was the undercover office, and the person who was running the undercover office explains to me, and he shows me the approved transfer. He said the chief approved it, but Andy blocked it. So I said, "Oh, okay. Can I get a copy of that?"
Yeah.
So I took a copy, and then I was like, "Oh, okay. This is what you want to do?" All of my white partners now had become union police officers, and it's very hard, as you know, to get police officers off the force once you're in the union. But me, in my position, I wasn't unionized. I was just in a specialized unit. And remember, I didn't have any clout. I didn't have what they call a Chinaman sponsoring me.
Hmm.
I'm just this black girl from the west side of Chicago who was a nigga, according to them.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. And I finally got one black partner, and he would always tell me, document everything.
Hmm.
And he would just say it all the time. So we would get these date books. Like you would write down what your activities were for the day, and it's a couple months like calendar book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had all of the evidence in those books every day. Every day, what was said to me, who was there, what they wore, what they had on, the time, everything that we went through. So I began to look for an attorney
Okay.
to present the case to, because basically I had put the case together myself from
Right.
the documentation, from the evidence, from rosters showing how this person was on the roster at the undercover unit at the Meg office, then became on the roster at the over unit at the other office, and then became on the sheriff's police, which was unionized. All of this evidence. So it was difficult because no one wants to go against the sheriff of Cook County. You never win. Never. I went to politicians, I went to organizations, and everybody was just humna, humna, humna. Well, Yurli, we really can't tell the sheriff what to do. Oh, really?
Mm.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Oh, really? Okay, no problem. So then I finally found my attorney, Andre Grant, who is a militant just like I am. And he's like, you want to do this? I said, yes, hell yes. So then I gave him all the evidence. We put the case together. He even had a press conference at the Federal Building downtown, major. And so it was on the news and in the media. And once we did the press conference, they put me on desk duty. They prevented me from doing any more work.
Wait a minute. So right now, at that point, you in the media, cover blown. You done being undercover.
No, it was a Jane Doe, but they knew who it was.
Okay. So
inside, they knew who it was.
Oh, so they didn't like put your picture up there and all?
No.
Yeah. But your unit.
And it wasn't a name. It was just a Black female undercover agent is now filing a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the sheriff of Cook County, the state of Illinois police, and all the other agencies and the officers in their official and unofficial capacities.
You know what? Before we continue, and I know my audience is like, get her to continue. No, we're going to go to break. We need to like a little woo-saw. And then we're going to come back and you're going to tell us what happened next and how you ended up with this case. Okay?
Sure.
All right. Let's do it.
I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep, I am Black business. I am Black business. Are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black business in the world. Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-308-9090. I am Black business. I am Black business. From the moment I wake until the time I sleep, I am Black business. I am Black business. Are you Black business? I am Black business. Do you support Black businesses? I support Black business because I am Black business. Black Business Expo, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black business in the world. Sign up today at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com or call 919-308-9090. I am Black business.
All right. We are done.
I started Gateway Healthcare Solutions to help medical facilities to improve their financial performance. GHS has a healthcare denial prevention strategist practice designed to improve healthcare financial services, offering denial management and business development with a strategic approach of mechanisms for hospitals, clinics, and providers on how to maximize payer contractual agreements.
We are a growing firm with a demonstrated record of success with our client projects by leveraging our wide-ranging skills and expertise to assist with delivering high-quality services such as denial management, revenue cycle management, strategy consulting, management training, medical software, and contract Our approach offers an analysis of your current state coupled with a proven solution and execute with a process improvement strategy and implementation methodology for our clients.
GSS develops an understanding of its customers' problems by identifying, assessing, and tailoring the services to suit the business needs. Selecting the right healthcare solutions advisor can bring you the management services you need and peace of mind you deserve.
Call us today for a free consultation. We are back. And I had the audience wait because this is it. We're going to find out. Now, you didn't throw down the gauntlet. The gauntlet has been thrown down. You've already got the evidence. You've got the lawyer. You've made this huge statement, and now it's on. So tell us what happens.
Well, so the retaliation began after the press conference. Like I said, they put me on desk duty. I wasn't allowed to go on any more deals or surveillance or anything. Then the harassment started. So they began to like park on top of my car. We sat with our desks. We didn't have cubicles, but our desks were pushed together. So we were like in a pod, and my desk was on the inner side. So I have to go around a few people like to get out to get to the hallway or the bathroom or whatever. So then they would like push their chair so I couldn't get out and block my way. So then I just walked on top of all the desks and walked away. I never complained. I never was crying. I never was upset. If anything, I got more angry. And I would bring my Bible, and there's all kind of pornographic material that they had and calendars on the walls of girls and naked women. And they came to me and said, well, you're not allowed to read your Bible. So then I began to wear t-shirts like no peace. There's no peace. No, just Jesus t-shirts, anything I could find.
Yeah.
Just to piss them off. And then I would just sit in the office. But then my latest supervisor before I got kicked out was a Hispanic, and his brother, he reported the police, and his brother, who he directly reported to, was with the state police. And they began to talk about me in Spanish, which I understand. I'm not fluent, but I understand. So they were calling me miates, and that means nigger. And they would call me miates all the time. And so they, did a number of things, including like somebody walked behind me and I'm sitting with my chair pushed up. I'm sitting in the chair, but I'm pushed up as close to the desk as I can get. And they push my chair up against the desk, squeezing me in between the desk and the chair. And they began to engage my teammates. They were my new teammates. I was the most senior on the team at the time because I stated earlier that my other partners made this transition of transferring and then becoming on the sheriff's police. So these new teammates, of course, in this environment, everybody wants to go along to get along. Mm-hmm. Well, they tried to ostracize me. I didn't care. Like I've never been a person that worried about whether you like me or not. I'm there to do a job, and now you're gonna pay me to come to work, and I don't have to go on the street. I'm gonna be here every day. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be here real early, and I'm gonna stay real late, so then I can see what you all are doing. And they were debriefing. A big drug deal was going down. They were debriefing, so everyone else was in the conference room seated, and I was outside of the door of the conference room, just peeking my head around listening. and one of my white partners comes up and he just stands there. So I look and I turn back around and he's like, "This means I want to enter." So I looked at him and I kept looking, and he was like, "I ought to kick your ass."
Ooh.
And I was like, "Really?" I said, "Bring your ass out to the parking lot and let's get it done. Ain't nothing between us but option and opportunity." And then he was just so shocked. And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Bring your punk ass out to the parking lot and let's get it on." What you mean? Who, if anybody else gonna get whooped, it's gonna be yours. Now you gonna let these people get your ass whooped, and you gonna mess around and find out what it really is. And then I turned my head back around and was looking, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, okay." So they were working feverishly. They could not understand why what their tactics were not working.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent one of my Black partners. He was on another team, but it's only 3 Blacks in the whole unit of 70 agents. So the 3 of us had to work together. And he said, "Yurli, is getting too hot. You need to take vacation." I said, "For what?" He said, "It's getting too hot. I'm telling you, if you don't take vacation, they're going to kill you."
Okay.
I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah, trust." And I said, "Well, they can't stop my God." And he said, "Your God can't stop no bullet." And I said, "Evidently, you don't know my God either," and walked off.
Okay.
So it had gotten that heated that they send somebody to threaten to kill me. So then after they did that, I started calling internal affairs every day, all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And saying, now it seems like a setup because I'm the only one sitting in this office, and anybody can drive by and shoot up the whole office, and I end up hurt. And it's like, oh, somebody found out where the undercover location is and just shot it up. So I called them every day like it was my job, all day. Now, what you gonna do? They threatened to kill me. They got me on desk duty. I'm the only one in the office. This, retaliation is going on. And they just did not know what to do. No one knew what to do. In fact, there were policy and procedure that if you had any type of complaint, racial complaint, they had an internal EEO office that you had to go to and file a complaint first. And then you could escalate from there. Well, the lady was so scared, I had to meet her like at midnight.
Wow.
And when I gave her the complaint, she was like, "Are you serious? Did this?" I said, "Yes." So she goes back and asks my supervisor if he really did this. So that's what tipped them off. So then they like, "Oh, we got a complaint." So I would come in the office to my teammates being coached by my supervisor on what to say when they went to internal affairs. They were being literally prepped on the script that they were to say when they went to internal affairs. And I walk in on them and they like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What are you doing?" So they ended up kicking me out. We had a new director.
When you say kicking you out, they actually fired you?
No, they kicked me out.
Okay. Don't come back here no more. Okay.
So this was a white guy from downstate, from the Illinois State Police. And
you're not at a regular police station is what I'm understanding.
No, we were at an undercover office that was, no one knew where we were.
Wow.
But you didn't get the address until you got there. So it's like, okay, let me take you over here and this is where you're going to be working. So no one knew where we were.
Right.
But the people who needed to know where we were. So he says to me, pack your things. I'm going to have somebody turn in your car keys, turn in your badge, turn in your pager, your phone. And I'm going to have somebody take you back to the square, which was the headquarters for the sheriff's police. And that's where the chief is. But by this time, it's a new chief. But everybody knew what was going on. Everybody was in on it. And even before then, there was a white officer named Seabach in internal affairs. Now, he was a fair guy. And he called me and he said, Yurli. I said, yeah, Seabach. He said, I just got your complaint. I need you to maintain and be careful. Mm-hmm. I'm going to investigate this and we're going to get to the bottom of it. But I need you to be careful. So I'm like, okay, Seabach, no problem. The next thing I know, they transferred Seabach and came in with 2 other guys. Yeah. And then they called me to the square and they like, we heard, we know what's going on and we're going to investigate it. And then they were acting like good cop, bad cop. And so the bad cop was like, the sheriff wants to know what can he do to make this go away. I said, really? I said, all of this time, all I've been asking for was to be left alone to do my job. I loved that job. I love that job. And how many people can you say love their job? It's non-existent. And I said, you know what? I said, it's like it's raining outside. And I said, it's like you pissing on me and then you telling me it's raining outside. I said, this is what you tell the sheriff. I'm like a rabid dog now. And when you corner a rabid dog, he gonna keep biting till he get that ass. That's what you tell the sheriff. Because literally you've left me out and no one was concerned. And now that you see that this is serious, and now that you've done some investigating to find out that I have valid claims, and these are real discriminatory assholes that you're dealing with, and you've put them in a major unit where they're dealing with the public, is not just me as a Black woman, but how many Black citizens have these racist idiots been dealing with in the public. So just because you do some illegal things and you're a drug dealer doesn't mean that you should be discriminated against.
No, nothing.
Doesn't mean that you should receive subpar treatment, that you should be beat or, given some extra treatment.
I tell you, Yurli, we got to go to break.
Okay.
We got to go to break, and then we're gonna come back. Because this is a riveting story. Riveting story, really. I mean, this is the Black woman version of Serpico. This is moving. We're going to talk about that. I know this is, something this is a story that must be told on a large scale. And this is one, because I saw you transform from Yurli Huff to superhero Huff as you were telling this story. I was like, wow, I'm riveted. I got my popcorn. How does this end? Whoa, who's going to help her? Where's her hero? What is going? She's your own hero. So let's go to break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk more about this story.
Okay.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaugh, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation, in the 5-star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaugh explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
5-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
Oh, man. Now, you are a real live superhero, as was put into the comments for some of your audience. So I want you to now, we're riveted. We're there with, we're like, man, bring us home. Bring us home. Tell us the rest of the story.
So they take me back to the square. Well, first of all, I went to the secretaries to ask them for boxes. And one of the secretaries, which they were all white, and one of the secretaries was like, Yurli, please go away. They told us not to help you, and I don't want to get fired. I'm sorry. I don't want to lose my job. I said, okay, no problem. So I packed my boxes, and then I told one of the secretaries that I'm going to keep my pager, because all of the other agents, and it was a time for pagers and block cell phones or whatever, brick cell phones. So I was like, I'm going to tell Kathy, that's the head administrator over the secretaries, I'm going to keep my pager. So she says, okay. So the director hears me and he's like, oh no, you're going to give up that pager. And so he comes and stands in my face. So I duck around him and I said, can you get Kathy on the phone, please? She was like, sure. So she called her, put on speakerphone. I said, Kathy, this is Yurli. How are you? She says, I'm fine, Yurli. What's going on? I said, well, I'm being told that I'm going back to my parent agency and I want to keep my cell phone. Can you handle that for me? She was like, oh, okay, no problem. I said, thank you so much. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for taking the call. And his face turned blood red. He was steaming. And I was just like, I just walked away. So they had somebody take me back to the square. I literally had a 2-wheeler with boxes on it, pushing it around. I'm waiting in the chief's office to go into his office to see him. But I see my old supervisor, Andy DeVree, coming in the front door around and going around the back to go in his office to talk to the chief before I go into the office.
Yeah.
And I was reading my Bible again.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes out and disappears. Pack my things and turn in my stuff. And he was like, well, we're going to have somebody take you home and I'm going to find out what's going on. Like, okay, no problem. So the guy was from the Marty Walsh, the director of personnel, the same guy I told you. But I was like, okay, no problem. And I never went. So his secretary called me, and a white lady, older white lady, she was like, who in the fuck do you think you are? You get your ass down here. When we call for you, you better fucking show up, and we not fucking playing with you. Get your ass down here, and I mean now. So I was like, okay. So I went down and met with him, and he was trying to get me to go back to the jail after 5 years.
Wow.
Many arrests, many of them at the jail. And my mom had worked at the jail many years. So I already knew it was a setup. And I was like, nope. I did everything they told me to do. I took the physical agility over. I did all of the tests over. I did everything. And when they gave me a date to report, I never showed up. So he called me back downtown, and he had this young white boy in his office, like an intern. And he wanted me to sign for my pension, or, you know, whatever I needed to sign for, like I was resigning. And that would be my benefits. I'm signing for my benefits. So the young guy is standing there, he's sitting down in his chair, and he's like, okay, well, things ain't working out, and I just need you to sign this paperwork. So I took the pen and I took the paper and I hit the signature line with the pen, and I said, nope, send it to my attorney. And I said, young man, you ought to be careful on what you involve yourself with, because you quickly could find yourself being sued. And I left. So he was pissed off. And what I tell you that I learned very quickly on is that white people play a psychological game with Black people because they know we're emotional. And when you don't show any emotion, they don't know what the hell to do. They had no clue that they were getting to me or pissing me off. And that was even pissing them off even more. Mm-hmm. And they were a bunch of scared, punk ass, wimp individuals who didn't even understand who they were. And I just felt, how dare you think, because I'm Black and I'm a woman, that you could take something from me that I loved. I was just mad as hell. And once I observed up close how not to give them what they were searching for, but to turn it back on themselves, it was like magic. And we filed the lawsuit in 1997. It took us 7 years to get to trial. And I found out later that they confessed to everything in internal affairs. I have them on tapes. I have the tapes still to this day of them confessing. In fact, they told on each other. We get to trial.
Federal investigation?
Yes. I took them to federal court.
Yeah.
Yes. In the 7th district. Judge Pincham and Tiffany Ferguson and Andre Grant were my Black legal team. It was a 22-day trial. They set my house on fire during the trial. They sat up on break and talked about how they were going to make me cry on the stand. And they sat up every day and threw my things in the cloakroom. The courtrooms have cloakrooms where you can just hang your jackets and coats or whatever. Every day they threw my stuff on the floor and walked on it. Every day.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So at the end of the trial, during the trial, it was really interesting. It was 3 sets of attorneys. One, the state's attorney for the sheriff, Andy DeVry, who was my initial supervisor. He had his own attorney, and Fred Guerra, who had his own attorney. There were 3 sets of attorneys on the defense and my 3 attorneys on the plaintiff side. And during trial, they were playing such racist games that the Judge Gottschall was my judge. She didn't know. So we were on break. The jury was out. And the white attorneys began yelling at the judge, but the judge is sitting on the bench with her head down. And she raises her head and says, "Mr. Grant, if you continue to yell at me, I'm going to find you in contempt of court. I'm going to throw you out of my courtroom." He says, "Your Honor, I didn't say anything." And she quickly realizes that she is being played in this racist game like a fiddle.
Wow.
So she ends up crying on the bench.
Wow.
And they call the jury back, and she's crying so profusely, so hard that she's jacking her shoulders. I mean, she's boo-hooing because now she realizes, she sees for herself. She's like heaving and having all kind of physical indications of tears in front of the jury as they come back. This is not at the end of the trial either.
Yeah.
So they are wondering what the hell is going on. Mind you, I had 12 white men and women and one elderly black man
on the jury.
Wow. So they witnessed this, which they never should have witnessed it. They were allowed to declare a defense. It's called an Ellerher defense, which we objected to, and they never should have been allowed to declare it. A lot of objections went on during the trial. And then the night they set my house on fire, the next day during trial, we put that on the record. And everybody, the judge was just flabbergasted. And they were looking like, this is real.
Yeah.
And we went on with trial. So they got up on the stand and said, yeah, we called her a nigger. So what? We call them all niggers. Ain't they niggers? So what? So what? Why are we here? So one of my latter teammates, she was just so bogus and aggressive with it. She was like, yeah, we called them all niggers. What's the difference? She a nigger too. What's the big deal? So the sheriff had called once he got the report of how she was testifying and personally spoke to her. You better change your fucking tone because this ain't how we roll.
Yeah.
So then when they called her back to the stand, she was just like, oh, and yes. And so, the defendant, the targets, we would, after she done called us all niggas.
The targets. Yeah.
So it was really a circus, to say the least.
No, this is we're at the top of the hour.
Okay.
This has been like phenomenal. And really, I mean, I'm just like, you hear that term real talk? This is real talk.
Yes.
Real talk. Like, this is what it's like in the field. You took us through just an amazing story, an episode. Just, man, I see why you had to make this into a superhero. We've got your website scrolling at the bottom, and I want everybody to go to that. But you are a superhero. I see the character. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. So tell us, we got like 1 minute. Tell us first about what you got coming up. I know you've got several books that you've gone out. What would you like to end and tell the audience about?
Well, it took me 11 years and I won on appeal, and no one wanted to hear the truth. No one would cover it. No one in the media would cover it. No one would. They were just so mad that I won. And that's a whole nother story, the appeal and what I had to go through to get that enforced. But I wanted to pitch for a movie deal. So I wrote my autobiography, The Veil of Victory, and I self-published that. And then through divine intervention, I took the character from there and created the Superhero Huff comic book series. I have 4 issues in print from that. And then I evolved it into Agent Huff, Black Gyra. And I have 5 books in print and working on the 6th book. We are working on a movie deal, a movie franchise, a television franchise, because I have 5 years of undercover work that I never wrote about. I have prototypes for my action figures. I have fragrances. I am a sublimation manufacturer, so I have a full line of gear that you can see on the superherohuff.com. I am really using my true life story to empower, enlighten, and encourage the masses, to let them know that you don't have to succumb to this. You don't have to be a victim. You can fight and you can win.
Yes.
And so what we have coming up is just creating the Agent Huff universe and creating worldwide international characters. She's going to go on journeys in different countries and solve some issues and problems there. And you all should know that the comic book industry is a $91 billion industry.
Yes, it is.
And it is less than 5% minority, less than that women. But there is nothing that has been created in that industry about a real live superhero.
Until now.
Until now.
Until now. And you are on this show, on the Follow Brand TV show. This has been for now. We're going to have a part 2. I'm already pitching it. We're going to have a part 2 because I want to frame that story around what you had to do, because you had a whole appeal process. You had to go through a whole. This was an 11-year journey.
Yes.
And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You fought the fight. He's like, I'm not going out like that. You're not taking away from me what I love without, we're going to fight about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And little did I know it was an entire enterprise on the other side of that. But I am so grateful. I am really grateful for the opportunity, and even more grateful for the opportunity to share and empower and let people know that they're not alone and that it is chess and not checkers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for being on the show, and we will definitely get you back on the show.
Thank you so much. I had a wonderful time. I appreciate you.
I did also. Thank you. We're going to go to the end of our show this week. This has been wonderful. Remember, you can tune into all the episodes at www.5starbdm. That's B for brand, D for development, M for masters.com. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Hey everyone, it's Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM and host of the award-winning Follow the Brand podcast and TV series, where I help you to build a 5-star brand that people will follow. My genius is personal brand development through intelligent communication and helping you achieve your business and career goals. I am a requested speaker on digital technology and brand development issues. I want to work with you to increase the value of your current opportunities while attracting new ones. Every one of you is unique, and we all share challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. As a super connector, I work with you as an executive coach to guide you along the complicated business and career development road, providing the enhancement tools and information you need to succeed. Together, I will help you succeed in today's challenging business climate. I will evaluate and measure your progress. Best of all, I am right alongside you every step of the way. Build the brand called you. Genius.